Welcome to the Lake City Podcast. I'm joined here today by Aimee Corbin. Aimee is a supported employee at Lake City Works, also volunteers in different departments at Lake City Works, comes for recreational programming, and also does skills development here at Lake City Works. So welcome, Aimee. Thank you very much for coming in today.
Thanks, Tim, for having me.
My pleasure. So, guess we'll just get right down to it and ask you a couple questions. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you first got connected with Lake City Works?
Well, I am a single mother of two. I've been diagnosed with a number of mental health issues, and I found Lake City through a program that I go to in the community called the Caring and Sharing Club from CMHA, Canadian Mental Health Association.
Okay.
They had a little festival, it was called the Festival of Hope, and Lake City had a booth there. I went and spoke to the people who were running Lake City at the time, and I wanted to try it, and boy, am I glad I did.
So how long ago would that have been?
Oh boy, that's a good question. Actually, it would be 7 years this month, actually.
7 years. Wow, that's a long time.
Yep.
So when you first came to Lake City, did you have any goals in mind, or was really just to be around like-minded people, your peers? Were there things that you wanted to achieve?
Actually, all the above.
Okay.
When I came to Lake City, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, who I was, what I could do, what I could accomplish. But when starting at, and that's one thing I really love about Lake City, they let you dip your toes in the pool. If there's something that you like to do, they'll let you do it. And to be quite honest with you, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was able to try different departments here at Lake City. And it took me 3 years to find out what I really liked.
And what was that?
The reception.
Okay, working reception desk.
Yep.
Okay.
And 2 years ago, it was doggy daycare.
Okay, Woofingtons of Lake City, opened
Yep.
2 years ago. So, thinking more about the supported employment program, what kind of work do you do at Lake City as a supported employee?
I work with the Woofingtons, the doggy daycare,
Okay.
twice a week through supported employment.
Okay.
And the other one that I do is I facilitate, which, to be quite honest with you, I didn't think I could ever do because I was a shy person.
Okay.
But since I was asked to do the coffee circle,
Okay.
facilitate it, it helped me come out of my shell, and I was actually kind of hoping, that was one of my goals, is try to find something that would bring something out of me that I didn't know I had in me.
Right.
And the coffee circle did that.
So, with the coffee circle, how does that work? What is that? That's 1 day a week, and what do you do for that facilitation role that you do?
Well, the coffee circle happened. It's a recreational program here at Lake City, and it's every Wednesday from 1 to 3. And what happens is, 1 week I will do a presentation on a topic that they would like to do.
Okay.
Or I would do a craft, play games, and basically it's just a place where the participants and supported employees that are at Lake City, they want to take a break, sit down, chat, because it's really busy because a lot of us don't get to see our friends here.
Sure.
And this is a time where they can learn something new, have a delicious snack, and just sit down and talk, meet new people and talk to
Right.
our old friends.
I mean, that's the thing. In working in nonprofits, specifically working in mental health, one of the things that is often talked about is the holistic approach. Mm-hmm. So not just one thing or another thing, but a little bit of everything, because we're all made up of a bunch of different parts, and we have hobbies, mm-hmm. and we have families, and we have work, and we have interests, and we do things for relaxation, and all of those pieces go together to make up the puzzle that is us.
Exactly.
So it sounds like the coffee circle is sort of like that recreation side of things. Has there been a highlight of your experience since you've been facilitating for Coffee Circle?
Yeah, actually, just just seeing the looks on everybody's face after I've done my program, and then, Aimee, what are we doing next week? Oh, I can't wait to come next week.
Right.
I'm like, I must have did a really good. It makes me feel good that I actually did a good job, even though sometimes it feels like, oh, that could have gone better.
Yeah.
But then it's like, they liked it, so it went well.
Yep, I know. Well, you and I know each other from a long time ago when I used to work in doing facilitation and employability skills. And, as a professional facilitator, I feel that almost every time I facilitate a course or put on a program, I wonder, did anyone like it? Did anyone go away thinking that was a waste of time? Did anyone hear that one mistake I made when I was talking? And then more often than not, the feedback you get from people is they don't notice that stuff, or maybe they do. They're just not telling you about that. They're going to focus on the positive. So I think that's great. And I've sat in on a couple of the Coffee Circle presentations and special guests that we've had in talking to us, and it's a very interesting group of people, very different backgrounds, and with diverse backgrounds, lots of people, different ages. From like early 20s to people in their 60s, which is a pretty unique thing here at Lake City to have that kind of demographic representation. So, so I know there's no such thing as a typical day at Lake City, and specifically for you. But like, what would today look like? Today, like thinking about today. Today is Wednesday. What does Wednesday look like for you?
Wednesday, okay, a typical Wednesday. For example, I had my shift at the doggy daycare from 7:30 to 9. Okay. Which I worked there as a supported employee. Right. And then from 9 o'clock until 12 o'clock, I volunteer there. Okay. To help out, get to puppy therapy. Everybody loves. So
sort of doing a different role, like the opening role. You're there in the morning to open to support the staff when the dogs are coming, and that's a busy time between 7:30 and 9.
Extremely busy. Yeah.
So
making sure all the water's out, make sure the pups got everything they need for the today and stuff like that.
So then you would transition after 9 o'clock. You would do more of the sort of, like you say, like the cuddling with the dogs,
playful,
and find one or two of the dogs that you like and cuddle with them, and so that's amazing. And so typically on Wednesday, Coffee Circle happens as well. Yep. So how do you prepare for that? What do you do to prepare after your shift is over, volunteering in Woofingtons? How do you then transition into getting ready for Coffee Circle?
Actually, with preparing for Coffee Circle, I usually prepare a week in advance. Like every time after the Coffee Circle's done that Wednesday, I'm planning for the next one. So after I'm done my daycare shift at Woofingtons, then what I'll do is I'll get all the supplies ready that I've already planned a couple days, a week before. Right. And by then, Tim, you would have brought the snacks. Or we would have, and I would set out the snacks and stuff like that.
Full disclosure, I'm also the secret shopper for a lot of the programs here, so I go out and buy the supplies. So that's one of my jobs.
So I'd basically get all the snacks together, get all the craft stuff together, basically get the room together, because the participants start coming around 1 o'clock. So so that's basically how I prepare, and that's basically a typical Wednesday for me. I do the Coffee Circle. After the Coffee Circle's done at 3, I sit down and I start planning for the next week's.
Right. Amazing. Well, I guess the thing is that just like any other job, sometimes what we do at work, affects what we do outside of work, sometimes positively and sometimes not so positively. But how has supported employment impacted your life outside of work?
It actually gave me more confidence. Like getting back to the Coffee Circle, for example. I never thought I could stand up in front of a group and teach somebody or, prepare something for somebody. That I was like, no, that's not me. I'll never be able to do that. Right. But lo and behold, I was given the opportunity to do that. Right. And so the supported employee program allowed me to do that. Like it gave me more confidence that I could tell people how I really feel, or like
Have you
express myself.
Have you brought that confidence in other things you do, other programs that you attend? And
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yes. Like, just, it made me feel like, you know what, I can do this. More confidence, and, I'm able to do anything, basically.
Well, what I like about that is that two things. I really enjoy hearing that kind of story and seeing the development and growth, but also it goes right into my next questions. My next questions are about advocacy and voice, and how having you developing that confidence in yourself, your ability to communicate, to be a leader, to be a peer that perhaps other people look up to, and they think, Aimee's doing it, I could do it too. It's amazing to see that. So being a strong advocate for mental health, what has inspired you to speak out? What was it, living with a mental health barrier, or being around people like at Lake City that live with any type of barrier? What was it that made you want to stand up and say, I want to tell my story, and I want to tell the story of the people around me?
Basically, both of those. Yes, I've been diagnosed with a lot of mental health issues, and it's so frustrating. And I've had a friend who passed away not too long ago. She was an advocate for mental health and homelessness, and she kind of brought me under the wing, and I seen the impact she had on other people.
Right.
And I was like, oh wow, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do this, because if I'm going through this, there's other people that are probably going through this, but they're not as I don't want to say brave, but they maybe have the lack of confidence that I had before I started doing
or they're not ready to take that risk.
Exactly.
That jump. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't like living the way, from robbing Peter to pay Paul, and like my mental health, and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's other people that don't like living that way either. So we need to get together and start doing something about it. Not just living it, but we need to do something about it. And actually, and that's why I'm very big on first voice.
Right.
It's like,
how would you describe first voice?
Basically, first voice it's lived experiences.
Right.
Like, you could go to school, spend $15,000 getting degrees, psychology degrees, and what someone is living with mental health is going through, but you don't know what someone is living through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like
you can estimate,
yeah,
but you can't approximate. So it's like that, the difference between learning something, and you're right. I mean, people do spend a lot of money, and I think it's really important for people, certain people, to go to university and get their degrees and get a master's degree and learn about these things at that deeper level. But really living it is the only way that you'd fully understand that. Like, that empathy piece, that understanding. And I know we might not live with exactly the same thing as other people, but we can sort of relate to them.
Yeah.
And having that ability to relate. And so I like that. The first voice, I like that term, because it's the other thing about it is, when you think about voices and you think about people speaking together and getting their message out there, you think about the power of, say, like a choir, rather than one person singing. If there is 20 people or 40 people or 100 people singing the same thing, it's louder. You can't ignore it. And so to have people, the change makers, the politicians, the people that work at nonprofit agencies, to hear this stuff, first voice from the people, that makes a big difference, right?
Oh, it does,
and having that story to be able to tell, and personal narrative is really important too. It's one of those things that can change things. So thinking about, being an advocate and thinking about like your personal experience that you've had, what are some misconceptions that people have about people living with mental health barriers?
There's a lot of stigmatism.
Okay.
And what I mean is, I strongly feel that we're still living in the 1920s and 30s attitudes about mental health.
Right.
And, you know, I still, even to this day, I still hear, oh, you're having a bad day. Oh, just get over it. Everybody has a bad day.
Yeah.
Not real, like that really makes
people
me,
that think having depression is being sad. You know, like, you know, it's not being sad. It's a different thing altogether.
Exactly. And that's the biggest misconception that I find is people, they don't want to learn more. They see it. Oh yeah, I know all about it.
Yeah.
No, you don't. I find that they just, let's hurry up. Come on. Yeah. We're done. We don't want to hear, I don't want to hear no more of this. It's like,
I find one of the things that I've observed working in this field is people are afraid of mental health and mental illness because there's no one age, culture, religion, gender. There's no one that is, more predestined to have depression or, anxiety or bipolar disorder or anything like that. And it can happen to anybody, and changes in our lives can affect, like a situational depression. You could have, the loss of a job. You might, move from where you lived. You might have lived in Vancouver and you moved with a partner to Truro, Nova Scotia, and then that relationship broke up and you're away from your natural supports. Maybe you left a career you liked. That could really affect people, and it could happen to anybody, and that scares people.
And you know what? It's funny you mentioned that, because one of the arguments that I always have, it's like, and I challenge people. I want you to think of one physical disorder or physical health, financial, that doesn't start with mental health or has a big, starts with mental health or has a big thing to do with mental health. Mm. Like, for example, we're living in a homeless crisis. Okay?
Right.
That starts with mental health because people lose their jobs for different reasons. Okay? Some have addictions. Some have, are victims of abuse or...
They get injured at work and they can't do their job anymore.
And if you think about it, like if you have addictions, it has meant to do with mental health.
Yep.
Abuse has to do with mental health. You get injured on a job, that affects your mental health. So if you restart, I've always said, one of my sayings is mental health first, not last. Because
I like that.
Everything starts with mental health.
Yeah.
You take care of mental health, you'll take care of the homelessness, your doctor shortages. Yeah. Because the doctors now are so stressed out.
Yeah.
Because they got to do so many patients in one session. It's like, then they have a mental breakdown. Then they got to look after it. Yeah. See, and this is what I find that these people in power don't understand.
Or it could be the fact, and I'm not, sorry, I don't mean to correct you, because I agree with you. I don't think many people understand it. The thing I find is that a lot of people, especially, you think about, the province of Nova Scotia, the problem is so vast. They being the powers that be, are tasked with trying to solve small parts of the big problem. And I think that's so daunting that only certain problems can be sort of the priorities. But like you said about, mental health, if we, as a community, if we supported people and not just throwing money at a problem, but supported people, were less judgmental of people, gave people opportunities.
Yes.
People wouldn't end up at emergency, for a situation. It could be, opioid poisoning. It could be, a mental health crisis. The expense, just not even thinking about the human cost, but the actual financial cost of somebody ending up in emergency for reasons like that. Mm-hmm. How many better interventions could have happened? How many more people could have been served by that, using that money in that area? And I know it's very easy to identify problems, very hard to identify solutions. And I mean, that's the unhoused, epidemic that we have going on right now, is that it's very difficult to solve because it's not just one thing.
No.
And it is multiple things. And we live, There's the dogs from the doggy daycare coming by for a walk. But we live in Dartmouth. And, you can't go very far in Dartmouth without seeing the effects of this unhoused epidemic that we have going on. So, it's something that, I think that being an advocate for change, I think trying to remove the stigma of living with mental illness would have an incredible effect on at least changing the attitudes. With how does it go that it's easy to change the architecture of a problem, put in a wheelchair ramp, put in an accessible door, but to change the way people see the world and how they live in the world, that's very hard to change. So trying to change people's perspectives.
And also, too, I find that a lot of people use their ears as decoration and not what they're intended for. We need to start listening to each other, not just hearing each other. We need to actually listen.
Active listening.
Exactly. Like, our ears are not decorations. I used to say that to my kids all the time. Yeah, you say you're listening to me, you're not. You hear me, but you're not listening. And that's the problem with, mental health. And when we try to talk to these people that have the powers to be, it's frustrating because it feels like, okay, yeah, you're hearing me, but you're not listening.
Right.
And that's two different things. And they need to understand that it's two different things.
And I think that the thing that is problematic about all of that is that mental illness and mental health affect everybody. So there's not one person that we can think of or that's listening to this podcast right now that doesn't have some person in their life. They could be working with that person. It could be their family member. It could be the neighbor in the apartment building they live in. People are being affected by mental health in our community, in all of our communities. So it is not something that happens to other people. It's happening to all of us all the time. And
it's not going away
It's not going away. And the only way that we're going to make things better is by, like you say, listening, speaking up, being an advocate, not being afraid to be the person that calls somebody out that uses an inappropriate term for somebody, or they see somebody on the street and they put that person down for what's going on in their life at that moment. Not saying things. What is it? I think there's a saying that the only thing that's necessary for evil to prevail is for good people to do nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I might be changing that quote a little bit, but it's something like that. So thinking about going on in the future, thinking about what we want to do, what you'd like to see happen, what are your hopes for the future, say personally, professionally, and in your advocacy work?
Basically, I would love to do more advocacy work. And one of my biggest goals, my biggest dreams that I would love to see is, more first voice opportunities, and the fact that these powers these people who have the powers to make the decisions for us, to actually, start using their common sense, and start thinking, okay, we need to do this, right? We can't put all our money in one pot. Oh yeah, we'll deal with that later. No, we need to deal with it now. And we also need to stop putting Band-Aids on surgery issues.
Right.
And that's what it seems to be, that it's like, you want to find a quick fix. There's no such thing as a quick fix.
Nope. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be heavy lifting.
Exactly. So stop putting Band-Aids on surgery issues.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. You can't, and that's the other thing, and that's why the unhoused epidemic is very difficult for people to wrap their heads around, is that people are looking for quick fixes, and you can't fix something that's taken generations to occur. They always say Rome wasn't created in a day, but also Rome didn't collapse in a day either. So, these things, there's the other side to that coin. So if someone was listening to this right now, just somebody sent this podcast to a friend and said, I think you would really like this. and that person is going through, say, a tough time. Maybe they are, maybe they've lost their job. Maybe they are couch surfing or they're back living with their family and they're going through a tough time. What message would you want to share with that person?
You're not alone. I used to think that I was the only one that dealt with depression.
Right.
I was the only one that thought I was dealing with my complex PTSD. But then when I found other people, and you want to embrace yourself into people who are like you, who want to be your friend, are willing to help you.
Right.
And you know what? It may not. You may think that it's never going to happen. The sun's never going to shine. Oh, trust me, it will.
Right.
And when it does, it'll be the best day of your life.
Well, I think that would be a great note for us to end on. So Aimee, thank you very much for coming in today to talk to me. And I'm going to say it one more time. Aimee's piece of advice for people is you are not alone.
No.
So thank you very much for listening to the Lake City Podcast, and join us next time.
Thank you.